Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crunching Growth, where we bring you new entrepreneurs every week to tell their story about how they got there, why they got there, and some of the obstacles that they ran into while they were doing it. Tonight, we've got a great young entrepreneur, Ovi Grigorescu from Romania. Actually, he's from Canada, but he was originally from Romania, and his family moved to Canada, I guess, many, many years ago, 15, so 20 years ago. But he's a young entrepreneur. He's a co-founder of QuikTix, a digital ticketing platform, simplifies event management, and he's also the founder of GriGrowth, which is a digital agency. So he's sort of blending using his skills as a digital marketer or as digital advertiser to build his to grow his startup. And an entrepreneur at heart. He just like the rest of us wants freedom and wants the ability to do his own work. And but he thrives on his ideas and turning and navigating the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, which again, it's something that I think every entrepreneur, I've never met an entrepreneur who said, I did this for the money. I never have. I'm sorry. Maybe there are some out there. I've just never met them. And I've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs. They always have a different view, and it's freedom, the freedom to use my own ideas, the freedom to manage my own life, the freedom. Are there scary parts to it? Absolutely. We all have fear. It's a big step especially when you have a family. It's a big step, but you're not going to die, right? The worst that happens is you lose money. And I've said that to a million entrepreneurs that I've met. You're not going to die. You're just going to lose money. Chances are, if it all falls apart, you've got family I'm sure you can rely on, and you'll go out and get a job and you'll be fine, and you'll be on to the next thing. But most entrepreneurs just have that perseverance. So let's bring Ovi in, and let's hear his story and hear his growth path and why he does what he does, and how he does what he does. Welcome. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me here, Phil, and thank you for that wonderful intro.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So yeah, let's take it back and give everybody a little bit of your history, your personal history, how you got to where you are, why you decided to be an entrepreneur and not just go out and get a job, and what drives you, what motivates you, that type of discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of how far back I can go, I feel like there's not a definite point. So I'll just start at the present, and maybe move a little bit backwards from there. So right now I am the co-founder of QuickTix.ca, which is as Phil said, it's a digital ticketing platform at very, very low fees. We provide tremendous value for less fees than any other solution out there on the market um, in terms of paid ticket events. And how did I get here? I mean, I've been, I graduated in 2018. I've had quite a few years of work in the corporate world. But even before that, even as I was, late high school, early university, um, I had always found myself tinkering with stuff. Like there's always been projects that I've had on the go ever since I was a kid, really. And I think it really helps just kind of having an innate um, um, sorry, just having an
Desire.
innate curiosity
Yeah.
about everything and everything, right? So really, the story of it is I've just naturally always been on the go. I've never been able to really just like sit for too long and just kind of do nothing, in my free time. And so eventually, some of these projects end up turning out to be useful, right? So QuikTix is not my first venture either. So I've founded, I was the founder of GriGrowth, which is a marketing agency that is still actually ongoing right now. That was my initial foray into official entrepreneurship, right? Like with a proper business and everything. And that one didn't really fail. As I said, right, it's still happening. It's just a matter of, when you have your own marketing agency, it's a little harder to scale than software, right? So given the fact that I've had a bit of a background in, I have a background in engineering in terms of education, and a lot of the projects I've been working on for the past few years were always related to software in one way or another, right?
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of just a matter of tinkering with things until you find real solutions that you have, until you found real problems that you managed to implement real solutions to. And that's sort of how QuikTix came to be.
Yeah. Well, it it's not a space that you would think has openings, right? Or at least, I'm not that tied to it, but certainly there are event platforms out there. So why did you choose that particular space? Did you see something in there that nobody else saw? Did you see something that you know seemed like it was a great opportunity or a
Yeah, a little bit. So it's been on the news cycle, I think, in the past 6, 7 months that the ticketing industry sort of has a bit of a, I don't want to use the big M word, but they certainly are. There's a few big key players out there, and it's usually, once the market gets to that level, you usually know that it's a little bit hard to break it. Now, this is a thing that we've been working on for a year and a half, almost 2 years at this point, just in terms of when the idea really started, not when the company started. So we've been aware of this problem, way before it kind of hit the media cycle and all of
right?
that. And funny enough, I'm actually not the guy with the idea. It's my co-founder Jason. He was the one who had the original concept and the idea. And really, what happened there was he's also the type of guy that just tinkers with stuff, right? And he was working on a project for a family business, where there's a marina up north in cottage country on a pretty big lake, but a little bit in the middle of nowhere. And they decided to start running a series of concerts over the summers because there's not much entertainment going around, and there's quite a big community up there. So the marina kind of gave them a bit of a challenge where they said, look, we're not willing to spend all of these fees on, just setting up an event that we need to sell tickets on.
Right.
If you can figure out a cheaper solution or an in-house solution or something, we will, at least for the first year, you get to kind of cash in the difference. And, after that, you can kind of take in a significantly smaller amount of fees if you can make it work that way. And he figured, okay, deal. So he got going, and he kind of realized, we can make money, or he can make money by only charging 70 cents flat on per ticket sold, which is, again, and this is 70 cents Canadian, so that would be, I guess, somewhere in the 50 cents range, US dollar. And that's almost like half of the flat fees, and with almost no percentage fees at all, which is almost unheard of in the market.
Sure.
So once he had the project done, we were kind of talking, and we're friends. We chat a lot, and we kind of started showing it to friends of ours who are in bands. Jason himself is a musician, and so our friends started using it, even though it was not branded. It had nothing on it, and a couple weeks later, Jason hits me up and he goes like, hey, can you help me figure something out in the data? Like, I think the data is off somehow, or some people are making too many accounts. Something's going on. So we kind of looked together under the hood, and we realized friends of friends are now starting to use this thing. And it's not even a fully baked concept. So we figured we accidentally figured out a great market fit. For a potential business, right? And then back to your question about, why do we think we can break through? Well, luckily for us, right, the companies that we are going toe to toe against, a lot of them are public companies.
Sure.
So we were kind of able to, look into their official statements and things like that, and we realized, if we can make money at this level of fees, they might not be able to afford to race us to the bottom, right? So that should give us quite a bit of time to not only get a good foothold in the market, but also from there figure out how else do we manage to provide value to customers other than just being, the quote unquote the cheap option, right? And that's exactly what we did. And so we launched. We actually launched in mid-August of this year. We had quite a bit of clientele in a beta phase for the duration of the summer, and we eventually had to actually like close it down and do it only by invite only until we kind of launched the full thing, because people kept wanting to get in and things weren't fully ready yet. So yeah, once we were ready, we just released it, and here we are today.
Huh, that's great. I love it. I love the. I always love backing into a business, you know. And no, I do. I love backing into a business. It's so much more exciting. Um, so, what were you doing with your marketing company, and what are you still doing with that?
Right. So it kind of started out as a COVID project, right? We all had COVID
As a
projects.
COVID project? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, pretty much. As in, I started it during COVID because I had all that time and I couldn't really go out or anything. And at the time, people kind of made a lot more online friends and all of that. And that was a point in time where I kind of figured, okay, well, I've been pretty much addicted to social media, right? Like this really kind of started with my social media addiction and trying to figure out, is there anything good that could ever come out of it? And I realized, I've been pretty decent at making meme pages that just blow up over time. And I've been able to kind of repeat it over and over again. And it sounds like a silly thing to do, right? Like it was just like teenage years, posting memes with friends, whatever. And then during COVID, I kind of thought, let's do an experiment. Could I use what I've learned about how to organically create viral content in order to help out real businesses, right? And in order to do more professional content, but also, allowing those businesses to get in on social media without having to always pay ads and whatnot. Do I have the kind of insights that can help them just grow more organically and at the very least at a reduced ad spend? And so that's kind of what I did, right? I did a few trials, sometimes for free, right, with a couple of local businesses just to see if it works first, because obviously I wanted to make sure I'm actually efficient and I can be sure about what I'm proposing there. And from there, it just kind of took off for quite a few years until QuikTix, because eventually I had to go, I can't keep growing this one. I have to focus on one thing at a time. But one of the notable customers that I had and still have actively is the Chicago Thanksgiving Parade.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been the marketing coordinator for them for a couple years now. And I'm very happy to say, I've helped them with their VIP passes. I've helped them figure out how to, better kind of blast that out to the public. And they've been able to sell out for, I think this is the third year in a row they're going to sell out, which wasn't happening before, right? And they've been able to actually expand the VIP bleachers and all of that as well. So that's been amazing. And I'm also been helping them a little bit with sponsorships, right? So now I'm through that project, I'm also kind of working more on B2B outreach, right? Instead of just business to consumer. So that's been a different game as well. And I'm learning lots there. And so I'm kind of doing that on the side, and it kind of makes sense to do it, right? Especially at the beginning with QuikTix being bootstrapped. I'm sort of paying the bills with the established business while the new one is getting its foothold off the ground.
Interesting. Yeah. You're doing B2B outreach for the parade to get sponsorships? Is that the focus?
A little bit, and I'm also kind of working with the team on figuring out strategies for it as well, right? Like I'm not the only one doing the outreach itself, but we're also kind of tinkering, and we're constantly changing the messaging and figuring out what works, what doesn't, and we go from there.
Is it working?
Yeah, I mean, so far so good, you know. Yeah, they've been doing great, and I guess that's why I'm here for a third year in a row.
Yeah.
And it's really fun too, right? Like I kind of get a bit of a trip to Chicago to help them on the day of as well, which is always fun.
Oh, is that right? That is fun. The B2B outreach world has changed dramatically. Obviously, we have to do it for it's part of our growing an agency, right? You're trying to get new clients, and you do a lot of B2B outreach, and we've been doing it for years, decades, and we had a system down, automated systems, and it was working flawlessly until COVID hit, and then it all just it's fallen apart, and that whole thing has changed. And I think the reason is it's different if you're a Chicago Thanksgiving parade and you're looking for sponsorships. I'm sure that you get a good return rate because it's a known entity, and right, you're probably targeting specifically around the Chicago market or maybe national brands. So it's something that's probably better and easier. But in today's world, it is so difficult. And when you think about it, I wake up every morning and I probably have 30 to 40 emails in my email box about people trying to pitch me on stuff. And it gets annoying. And so what I found is email is almost not the way to do it anymore. We used to use automation tools, and we have a different process that we've been employing, which is working so much better. And it's much more engaging than just sending somebody an email and saying, "Hey, I've got this, great offer." So, yeah, it's an art at this point. But I think that in general terms, marketing today is it's when you look at I'm thinking about your business, right? I'm thinking about your business and going up against all of these bigger players that, like you said, are public companies or are, deep pocketed. But today's consumer, the youth of today, anybody who's under 40 years old, isn't interested in big companies that are selling a product. They're more interested in brands that they can have that have some sort of an engaging proposition that they can relate
Personal
to.
connection.
Yeah, that they can relate to, that are that will lead them down that path. They don't want to deal with big company stuff that's faceless and nameless, and they don't know who it is. And when you look at the growth of brands today, when you look at, they're all personalized, they're all, and who the owner is, and who the founder is. And then the minute it gets sold, unfortunately, the minute it gets sold, everybody just bashes it. I was thinking about Rayo's pasta sauce. It's a pasta sauce from a famous restaurant in New York, and they got sold to Campbell's about Campbell's Soup Company about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and immediately you saw it on social media, everybody going, well, that's the product's going to be garbage now, it's not going to be any good, it's going to be crap, well, we can kiss that goodbye. And it's amazing that how people don't want to deal with Campbell's. They want the Rayo's back that was homemade and made by whoever it was made by, but they didn't even know who it was made by. Could have been made by a big company, could have been made by Campbell's for all these years, right?
Right.
But they didn't know that. But immediately like they were tied to Rayo's. They knew the restaurant. They knew the restaurant in Vegas. And then, the minute you say that it's a bigger company that bought them, they immediately turn off.
Yeah. And I guess the best thing Campbell's could have done would be to just not put out a press release.
Yeah.
But on the topic of, the emailing market being overcrowded and, having to do a more personal brand. It's funny. I've kind of flipped our whole marketing strategy on its head on QuikTix side. And we've decided to do direct personal approach. And when I say direct, I quite literally mean knocking on doors on Main Street of various towns to get our initial clientele started. Because, like what's $1,000 worth of ad spend on a brand new, completely unknown ticketing product gonna do? Probably nothing, to be honest. Like if I were to see something like that for the first time, I would not want to do it, right? I would not want to even click on it because it's like, oh, okay, there goes another one, right? So what we're trying to do instead is we're trying to have a few customers in various towns, have a few events going on every now and then in a few various towns, and then start doing the online marketing specifically in the areas where that we've already hit physically, because that way, locals may have already heard of QuikTix, right? The establishments themselves maybe started using QuikTix already. And we just make sure that, when you purchase a ticket or whatever, it comes from QuikTix. So then at least they've seen the name in their inbox for tickets, not for an ad, before they actually start seeing ads online. Because then they can start seeing ads and they kind of go, okay, yeah, I've seen this. Let me see, like, I guess the bar down the street started using it. Let's see what the offering is.
Yeah. I'll tell you what amazes me as a marketer today. And I know that it's been going on for years and it's not new to me. But if you had asked me 5 years ago, if you had said, Phil, do you think that people making videos, just silly videos, is gonna sell product and move the needle? And and I thought 10 years ago that it would, because you saw it on when Instagram first came out and you were able to, in YouTube Shorts, and you were able to see this, but it never transpired. People were talking about social selling for years.
Influencer market.
Well, we've done tons of influencer stuff, and we're big fans of micro influencers. Not when they get big and they start saying $2,000 a video, $5,000 a video, and plus this and that, we back away because it just doesn't pay for itself. But micro influencers, I'm a big fan of. But if you had said, just social selling, we're going to put out social posts and social content, and that's going to drive sales, based on what we saw from Meta, which was the dominant category out there. Pinterest was okay, but we never saw it. And then all of a sudden TikTok comes along, and somehow it has reached the youth, and again, under 40, and has influenced them to buy. And I'll give you an example. We have a client who started in November of 2023 and selling hats, customized hats, right? Funny sayings and things like that. These guys went out of the gate on TikTok at 70,000 a month, just on TikTok sales. And then we started growing them on website, and we started growing them on, moving them to Amazon and things like that. But these guys are going to do $150,000, $200,000 a month on, and they're not even a year old yet. And, right. And that scalability, I think, is fantastic. And they're obviously very happy. But then I have other friends, because we were in the skincare business and we were in some other businesses, shaving. And I have people, and again, we manage a lot of brands on Amazon for clients, and but I have a friend who has a skincare brand, very specific. He has about 10 items, anti-aging products, and he figured out a methodology to use TikTok to grow his Amazon sales. Because what he started noticing was every time something blew up on TikTok, the sales on his website and the sales on Amazon went up like 60%. And I can see that because when you understand the dynamic of consumers, you understand that a lot of times they don't want to click on links. They don't want to. They don't want to give their credit card information to TikTok. They're a little wary of it, but at the same time, they want the product. They see it, and if it's on Amazon, right, you're sort of doing your advertising for Amazon. But what he figured out was he gets 50 micro influencers, 50 new micro influencers every month, and he gives them free product, and he obviously they become affiliates, and he gives them an affiliate link, and even if it gets bought on Amazon, and he's figured out that if he continues to do that, he grows his sales, and that's cheaper to him to give them the free product and to do the affiliate work. It's cheaper for him than advertising, than spending advertising dollars. So he's not spending a lick of advertising on TikTok because
Right.
advertising doesn't, nobody responds to it on TikTok.
Yeah, organic growth.
Yeah. But every time he does it, every 50 that he gets, it grows his sales by, I forget the exact number, but it's like X%. And he's happy to do it. And he was a guy that was doing, several million on Amazon. And now he can say that he's doing, he's telling me that his TikTok driven sales are probably going to be 3 to 4 million this year at the end of the year.
And where do you think the overall TikTok trend is going to go? Do you think TikTok is now where maybe Instagram influencers were, 10 years ago, or 2015 to 2016 era, or do you think that it's just going to keep going strong?
I think that I think it has to do with certain categories. I think certain categories do really, really well on TikTok. I think that when you get something that hits, it gets really strong, but then it burns out, it flames out. So you have to constantly come up with something new.
Yeah.
But I think people are being more creative. They have more creative freedom on TikTok. For some reason, Facebook is older, and you're hitting older people with it. Instagram or Reels in particular, I think Instagram posts are pretty much dead. Reels, I think, is great, but when it's done right. But in my opinion, the two better channels for video, short form video selling are TikTok and YouTube Shorts. And I think at the end of the day, YouTube Shorts is going to wind up being bigger than TikTok. They just haven't figured out the marketplace part yet.
Right.
You can do them on you can run your videos on YouTube Shorts, and then you have to direct them to your pages, right? Your website or your Amazon pages. Whereas, TikTok, you can sort of tag the products, and they can either go to the marketplace or they'll go and they'll search for you. But I think that those are going to win. And I just think it's about more creativity. I just see Reels being sort of stale, same old, same old. And then the other piece is which is a real problem, in my opinion, on the entire Meta platform, is the fake accounts and the bots. Because we have clients that don't want to spend any money on Meta anymore,
Right.
because they say,
Is that not an issue for TikTok?
Well, TikTok, you're not spending money, so I don't care about bots, or I'm not targeting anybody.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just happening organically. So Meta, I'm spending money on ads, and to do what? If I'm targeting bots, I'm targeting, fake accounts, I'm targeting porn. I mean, it's gotten ridiculous when you look at what's happening. All these, I mean, it seems to me to be different, right? When I look at TikTok or when I look at YouTube Shorts, I see people doing some creative things with their product or talking about the product. When I see Reels, I see a lot of, women, unfortunately, and just using their body to just get views. There's
Right.
no substance there. And there's this one person that I just can't figure out what the game is, but but it just shows how guys are just so silly when it comes to that. It's like, oh, this person might show her boobs, so I'm going to sit here and follow her, you know. And
Just
there's
wait for it.
this one person that all she does is she wears overalls and she has no bra on, and then she goes out and does things, and you and guys sit there going, oh, well, maybe we'll see some side boob, and that reminds me of Family Guy. It's just so silly, and so I don't see any substance there. But on TikTok and Shorts, I see substance. I see people doing some really creative things. I see a lot of food people, doing some creative things. I see a lot of young people doing creative things. I see, young, more. It's more entrepreneurial, whereas Meta is just, to me, it's like, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah. I do find that Meta definitely, by default, tries to start their audiences out with the sex appeal, right? But I did find, and this is probably a good tip for any viewers here who are kind of looking to clean up their timelines a little bit. I do find that if you put the little 3 dots and you say not interested in posts, eventually it figures out the pattern and it goes, okay, yeah, okay, we don't want to. This guy doesn't want to see soft porn on their feed. Understood. And it works out. My Instagram feed is pretty clean, so it's been a while since I've seen things like that, which is why it was an interesting reminder that I remember now that is exactly how they start you out.
Yeah, but the problem is that Meta is an ad platform,
Mhm.
and so people are looking for places to place ads, right?
Yep.
And so when you look at ad platforms, Meta appears to be a strong ad platform. But then when you start getting under the hood, I mean, you're just delivering ads to bots. You're delivering ads to fake accounts. You're delivering ads. I mean, I can't even tell you how many fake accounts, send me these silly messages. And I mean, it's not just us, it's every client that we're working with.
Yep.
So we look at it every single day, and you see these messages. Oh, your account is going to get shut down. Account's going to get shut down. It just gets so tiring to deal with this every day and go in there and you report them, and then you report it as spam, and Meta does nothing about it. And they could very easily do something about it. And all the reason that they don't do anything about it, and everybody knows, and it's not new news, they don't do anything about it because if they did do something about it, they would show negative account growth. And if they showed negative account growth, it would affect their advertising dollars.
Yeah,
What they don't understand is that it's already affecting their advertising dollars because nobody wants to spend money delivering ads to bots. So everybody's pulling their money off. So if they cleaned up the account, if they cleaned up the platform, they might actually grow their advertising sales.
This is where I wonder if Elon Musk did the right thing by sort of cleaning house a little bit with X/Twitter. I mean, I'm still very much worried that he might just be driving it into the ground. That there's no telling until the day comes. But I guess one really cool thing I did experience was that the bots are way down, like way down, and obviously that took a significant hit because that, as you said, right, like the growth just slowed all of a sudden. He's obviously got other issues that slow the growth as well, including the advertisers leaving for, let's call it, freedom of speech issues, right? Quote unquote. I'm not trying to get into the politics of it, but I'm just saying that these are the facts, right? But at the same time, I do wonder if he cleans it up to the bare bones, and now that we're in 2024, it's been almost a couple decades at this point that social media in various forms have been around. I wonder if there's a way to let it hit this rock bottom, and then from there allow the platform to grow back up with real humans, right? In an almost botless world, and when there's bots, you can label them properly and so on and so forth. But I think you're right. A lot of the other companies, maybe it's something that companies can't do if they're public, because that would be like shooting themselves in the foot for the next few quarters, and they can't deliver that value for the shareholders.
Well, I think that they're just going to become irrelevant because there's going to be other platforms that are growing. There's already a platform out there that to compete with X, Twitter. And I think he made major mistakes with X, and I don't think it's going to survive
Who's your
because,
winner?
you know,
What
huh?
horse are you? What horse are you betting on?
I'm betting on. I don't know. I'm not betting on anybody yet, but I'm betting that I don't think he's going to be able to recover from it. There's too much money, and he's too far in the negative, and there's too many advertisers that pulled off because of nobody wants to listen to all that racist stuff.
Yeah,
And
no, I agree.
so,
If I were an advertiser, I wouldn't advertise on there either. But I do wonder, like I wonder if in a different world where they actually had proper community guidelines that they were enforcing, if what they did with the bots and just kind of cleaning up the whole platform down to a bit of a bare bones would work.
yeah, I think I think that to a certain extent, Reddit does a better job of keeping the platform sort of. But it's a different kind of world because you're not really advertising on Reddit. I mean, it's tough to advertise on Reddit. I mean, I know they have an ad platform. We've done some things, but it doesn't work. But I think Blue Sky, if it takes off, will be formidable.
Yeah,
Because they're saying that that's how they want to grow it, right? So that you keep the bots off, you keep the garbage off, and you just let it, become what it is. I've even seen LinkedIn, and I think they're cracking down on it, but even LinkedIn has gotten which is just a B2B platform. And I mean, it got a little crazy there for a while. You're going, what in the world is happening with some of the posts? And then these
feels like
fake,
10,000 chat GPTs trying to talk to each other.
oh yeah, but then the fake, what I love are the fake businesses that try to lure you in, right? I oh, it's usually a really beautiful woman image, right? And they send it out to you. It's like, oh, I want to talk to you about, doing your marketing or your this or that. And behind it is really some company, right?
Right.
And then you look at the picture and it's obviously fake. It's obviously from,
Yeah.
stock
One of those
photos.
tools. Yeah.
Yeah. But they seem to be cracking down on that a bit. LinkedIn is, because it really isn't that kind of platform. It's really, and we do a lot on LinkedIn Navigator for business stuff. So, but I think, it's really difficult. I don't understand Discord as a social platform. I understand it as people who are gamers or people who are doing that type of stuff. I get it, but I don't see how I don't see how that would ever replace a platform to be running ads on. I know people run ads on Discord, but I just don't see it. I mean, if I have seen some growth when we had a gaming platform for a while that we were working with, and we were running ads on a lot of different platforms that are specifically focused on gamers, and I think that works out really well.
Yeah.
But they're not on, they're not on Facebook. They're not on
Yeah.
Instagram. I don't
I
think.
feel like both Discord and Reddit, the name of the game, if you're trying to market something in there, is a little bit different than just running ads, right? With Discord, I mean, I feel like with Discord, it's almost easier if you can strike a deal with them. So you can do one of those, 3 months free on this service, which they do have sometimes, but obviously that's a very limited amount of ad space.
Yeah.
But I think Reddit is the more interesting one because I almost feel like the marketing methods there are a little bit nefarious. And what I mean by that is I feel like there's a lot of astroturfing going on there. And I feel like that is the name of the game when it comes to marketing on Reddit, right? So you don't really pay the ads to Reddit, you pay the ads to some sort of back-end company that can run a bunch of accounts to create this entertaining comment section inside a post, make it go viral on the first page, and use those seemingly unrelated people to have a conversation that kind of changes your mind about how you view whatever they're trying to convince you of, right? So some subreddits, it's almost like the entire subreddit, that's just what the mods do, right? Like there's, for example, I think it was political memes. Again, right, it's election year, I get it, but that is a very, very obvious example of, astroturfing almost done wrong, because it's so obvious and in your face that real people are probably just leaving because they realize this is not, nobody that actually posts a real meme there gets in it, whether or not even if they're on par with the agenda that they're trying to run there, right?
Right.
But then I feel like just kind of, if you browse long enough and you're onto any subreddits where they discuss topics about consumer products or services or things like that, you can kind of smell it out in there as well, if you know what you're looking for. And maybe just for the audience, we could define astroturfing a little bit. But the concept is that someone makes a post, and then an army of bots or some a team of people with different accounts will start having this scripted conversation in the comments, and they'll start liking each other's posts and whatnot so that they can actually spread properly. And then they leave the real users looking at these seemingly popular posts where they think they're watching seemingly natural conversations, but really they're there to actually change your mind based on you thinking, oh, okay, yeah, that's what people think.
Yeah. Oh no, I can see that. I can see it. I don't, it's a lot of work, man, to do anything on Reddit. And it doesn't, even if you do that, because there are services out there that you can pay for where they'll do exactly that. They'll start the subreddit, then they'll get 1 million people to comment on it, and they'll have these conversations. And a lot of it today is done through chat GPT.
Yeah.
And but running ads, they've got an ad platform, and we've tried it a couple of times because we've been requested to by some of our clients, and it just never, ads don't work on Reddit. People don't respond to them.
You kind of got to break that ad blindness, which I feel like because Reddit is so diverse, you can't really break it because there's not a pattern you can specifically break on Reddit. I was reading an interesting case scenario though, speaking of ad blindness. I was reading the prospects for, you may have heard of it, Traffic Junkie. It is the biggest adult advertiser in the world. So any advertisements that you see on any of the adult sites out there, it's all Traffic Junkie, which is it's a subsidiary of this Montreal-based company. And the mind-blowing part about it is that they run ads to 10% of North American people every single day, which is a wild statistic. Like that just blew my mind the first time I read about it. But the story that I was reading about, and this was the part that really kind of stuck with me, was there's this whole thing where gaming companies now, like completely, like family-friendly games, will start advertising on those adult platforms because it breaks this ad blindness, right? Like you will go on those sites and you kind of expect the regular like hot singles in your area, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden you see a game, right? Like a regular game, and the mind just automatically kind of goes like, this shouldn't be there, right? And ever since then, I've been kind of thinking like, how do I break ad blindness on most other platforms? And I think, yeah, Reddit might be a really hard one for that one. But
I think that because we've had many discussions about this inside of our company, because what we've been seeing over the last years. I can tell you that 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we could run ads and I knew exactly what the returns were going to be. I knew what the ads were going to do. I knew how to build, we knew how to build the creative, and we did it. And then things started to slip because people weren't responding. And I think I don't care what generation you want to call it, Generation Z, millennials, whoever, started coming in to their own of purchasing, they don't respond to ads. And we started seeing how they respond to things. And I think that to break through ad blindness is to stop running ads and start being more creative with your content. Because I think social media, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, even Reels to a certain extent, it gives you the opportunity to be creative. Now, it's not as easy to execute as, okay, I wrote this, I created this great ad, this great static ad, which I think we try to stay away from at this point. I mean, they're okay, we do them, but they don't really do much. But, I created this great static ad and I'm going to run it, or I created 10 and I'm going to run them for a year. It's not the same, right? You have to come out with fresh content and you have to sort of be a little bit creative. So I think, in my opinion, where I see everything going and what we're gearing up for is I've increased the number of people on our team on the creative side, because I think short form video expressing what, what customers want to see. I'll give you a perfect example here. We had this product, and it was a sugar-free product, keto, focused on keto and paleo and all that, but also to people who want to break sugar, right? And you know what Nutella is, right? Obviously, yeah. So it's basically same type of product as Nutella, same application. But when you have a new product like that, customers have no frame of reference. So all we did was create a series of videos, this and a couple of others. So we had the Nutella showing, right? And then we had this product showing, and we had, a couple of pieces of toast, and one, you're just spreading the Nutella and you're spreading this other one, right? And it was just a quick video. And it got, 2.5 million views, and it got sales for the product, because now what that did, you're not comparing yourself to Nutella, because it's two different products, right? One has sugar and one doesn't. So I'm not saying, oh, try this over that. All I'm showing you is, this is your frame of reference. This is a product that is Nutella for keto, paleo, sugar-free. That's it. And it worked. We have a hot sauce company that that's a client, and we were trying to break through to do something that would get some attention. And we started doing these silly videos of taking everyday food items, apple, banana, piece of cake, anything, and put hot sauce on it, right? So you're making these videos with that, and you're pouring the hot sauce on it, and then just, would you eat it? Right? And you got people going, oh God, no, oh God, no. But then you had the hot sauce, the hardcore hot sauce people. These guys are hardcore.
Try it.
Yeah, they'll go, I'll do it. Sure.
Those are hot ones.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, exactly. So it's so I think when you do things like that, you're basically changing sort of the game a little bit, in my opinion. I mean, that's what I see. I think that we have to all be a little bit more creative, and just can't get away with being, just producing a static ad and saying, here it is. Right.
Right. So in your experience, what would you recommend to smaller businesses that, they realize they need to create the content and all of that, but they kind of go like, I don't have the time?
Yeah, that always comes up. But we always say the same thing. You need an agency, right? Somebody like us that has the ability to take raw footage and turn it into something usable, because people are still going about their day, right? I'm a small business. I'm going about my day. What are you? Well, I'm a pizzeria. I make pizza. Okay. Prop your phone up and just give me some footage of you making pizza. Right. And I want to hear you and, Giorgio in the back, bantering. Just, right. I don't care. Give me an hour. Give me an hour's footage. I'll find 10, 30-second spots in there. Right. So we tell people all the time, you're thinking too hard. You're thinking too hard. I don't want you to script out the show. I don't want you to script out the little video. I don't want you to think about it. I want you to take your camera. Just give me real life. Just show me what you're doing every day. and it's hysterical. There's another hot sauce company out there. We don't do that. They're not our client, but they do a great job. And that's all they do is they set up the camera in the warehouse, and they get a couple of hours of footage, and then they break it up and go, this is us sending out our orders for the day, and it gets millions and millions of views because they're a small company, they're a startup, young, and so I think that it relates. So to me, I think every business should just set up a camera, even if you start arguments with people, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're arguing with one of the people in the back, it turns into something funny,
No,
So
I absolutely agree.
that's how I think people should do it. So
This conversation also gave me some good ideas for QuikTix, right? Because maybe I could ask some of the people that run events on our platform to just send us footage, right? Whether or not it's raw or edited or whatever, and we could also help blast them through our social medias.
yeah.
I mean, we usually kind of say it in the beginning, but we haven't been making that one of the focal points. So this is a really good idea.
All you need are people's expressions. That's all you need are people's
Yeah.
expressions or what they're doing. For an event like that, you want to capture footage of people going to the event and look in their faces, and and so anyway,
We're in the business of a good time too, so that part will come easy, I think.
See, I'm full of great ideas.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, we're went a little bit over. We're a little bit out of time.
Oh, wow.
But how can people? Why don't you tell us about the website is up on your screen,
Absolutely.
QuikTix.ca.
QuickTix.ca, and as of October 1st, we can host US events as well. So we've released it. It we were only going to do it for Canada for a little bit, and then we've suddenly had some interest in the US already in New York area. So it is about to be released, as of October 1st, and check it out. It's low fees. It's lower fees than whatever else you might find online. If you need an event where you need tickets and if you need an event, if you need to throw an event with tickets, and you need something that is where you want to keep more of that ticket cost in your pockets, check us out, and feel free to reach out in any of the emails that you see on the website as well if you have any questions.
Are you going to change to, when you come to the US, you're going to change it to QuikTix.com?
We are in the works for that, but for now it just works just as well with QuickTix.ca.
All right.
The payment processor there is Stripe, right, which is one of the biggest companies out there. So it was pretty easy to work with them to expand the options.
Yeah. All right. Great. Well, it was a pleasure having you on. I love the conversation. Good luck. I hope that everything goes well. Certainly, I'd like to keep in touch. Probably have you on in another year to see how your progress is going, because that's what we like to do. And sure, let's keep in touch.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And thank you for having me on.
All right. And as for the viewers, we've come to the end. Sorry to see you go so early, but we've got to move on with the day. Hope you enjoyed the show, and tune in next Tuesday at 6 p.m. on e360tv.com. Thank you and good night.